Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are ready. I'm going to talk a lot about spreadsheets for the next few minutes. So I'm going to start with a pretty basic question. What do you think the average junior investment banker spends their day doing? And if you're not familiar with the financial services industry, you might imagine that their average day looks something like this. And unfortunately, this is not quite the reality. In reality, the average junior investment banker's day looks a lot more like this. Investment banks hire thousands of people per year, paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars to essentially put the same trend line on the same bar chart over and over and over again in Excel. And this hurts retention in a time when Wall Street is losing some of its best talent to Silicon Valley. This also produced wastes and opens up a lot of avenues for increased risk when it comes to data breaches in areas like compliance. And this comes at a time where overhead and compliance are extremely important for banks. So hi, I'm Riley, co-founder of Windrush, and we are the data visualization platform that finance has been missing. We leverage collaboration, customizability, and use advanced machine learning algorithms to solve this problem for amazing clients. So let me show you a little bit of how this works. Behind me here, we have two analysts producing the same chart. One is using Windrush, and the other is not. Now, what you'll see is that the analyst using Windrush is able to produce their chart 10 times faster than their colleague. And not only this, but once the chart is produced, it's automatically on-brand, interactive, and compliant. And the best part is once they're finished building their chart, it's automatically uploaded to a centralized repository where any other analyst at the bank can search for that chart, grab it, insert that into their PowerPoint presentation or report, and then are able to immediately find that chart and pull it down into their presentations. On top of that, we're making a JavaScript API available to analysts, power users, and developers at these organizations where they can make their own custom charts and distribute those to non-technical users within the banks. And really what this means is a deduplication of work. This reduces risk and increases knowledge sharing across the organization. And so for all of these concepts, we think of it a little bit like GitHub for charts. So 10 years ago, if you wanted to use software to solve some solution, you would simply have to write it yourself. But these days, it's far more common for software developers to go online, find that code that already exists, and it's much more likely that code will be far more robust and reliable than anything that they could write themselves. And this concept applies to charts as well. Why would you ever create a chart of your own if you could just as easily go to your centralized repository for your organization, bring down that chart, and know that it's correct, on brand, and already been vetted by compliance? On top of this, we're bringing complex admin tools and management tools to these banks to control things such as compliance, brand, and workflow for the chart creation and distribution process. And this is our primary revenue stream. So, through a yearly licensing model with our largest customers, we're able to make sure that not only are their charts able to be produced by their analysts much more efficiently, but they'll never have to worry about charts being off-brand or not compliant ever again. And so we're excited to say that this summer we were able to work with Barclays to produce a proof of concept within their organization, specifically their equities research division. From here, we're continuing to have more conversations with other large investment banks. And beyond this, we're continuing to have conversations with Barclays in other business units at the investment bank. And we've assembled a great team to do this. We're all data nerds to our very core. That's where we're coming to this space from. We're sort of outsiders to the financial space, bringing some new blood, new energy to their outdated tools. And we have a lot of experience building complex applications using machine learning and data visualization. We've also surrounded ourselves with amazing investors in investment banking, both former and current executives. But investment banking is just the start. There are over 790 million Excel users worldwide. So while we're starting with banking, We're very quickly going to expand to other industries such as insurance, beyond that to things like management consulting, and then even further to things like advertising, business analytics, and market research. We're putting powerful data analytics tools or data visualization tools in the hands of professionals without forcing them to change their workflow with Windrush, the data visualization platform that finance has been missing. Thank you.
David.
I'm just trying to visualize this, and is this a replacement to Excel? I mean, I moved from Excel to Google. It's a very robust live environment, and I'm just trying to understand the movement from this data input area to what we all normally use in the Excel world.
Yeah, so one of the key differentiators for us is that we're playing very friendly with the Excel environment, the Office environment. Many investment banks are still using Office 2007. So we're coming in and being able to build basically an Excel plugin that they use to create these charts and graphs from their existing Excel models. From there, that then goes to the bank where they can work with those visualizations through their admin tools. So they're able to track this chart beyond the initial the point that it's been created by some analyst through a blockchain to get an audit trail to go back and track that compliance. So it fits directly into your Excel world. We actually got our start working with Google Sheets as our first data source. But in terms of integration for the financials space, they're very, very much in that Microsoft world, and it's a great thing for us because that makes Microsoft a great potential acquirer for us sometime down the line.
Kyle.
So I understand that it's faster, everything's on brand, it's compliant. Is the visualization any better than what you would get if you spent the time in Excel to make the same chart?
Yep, so the static visualizations are comparable to the ones you would get from Excel. The benefit with Windrush is everything that's created is also interactive. So this interactivity is a space where Microsoft is trying some things, but the actual published content that banks are putting out, they still struggle to create these interactive types of charts and graphs. And the big innovation that we have compared to things like Tableau or other BI tools is that their workflow, their process, has been completely rejected by analysts in any space for the most part. They want to live in Excel, they want to use Excel, so we're giving them that. We're giving them an Excel-like experience, but the output is still this interactive, updating charter graph.
How do you sell your product?
So, like I was saying before, we have this yearly licensing model with banks in terms of acquiring new customers that the actual Excel plugin is we're giving away for free to analysts to really drive adoption. So once we see enough analysts at an organization using this product, we can very quickly go to the management there and say, take advantage of all of your analysts using this tool, buy these management tools that we sell and can build with you. For now, our focus is very much on really working with a few large in-depth relationships to really understand exactly what this process needs to look like. We spent the last 3 months at Techstars this summer in New York building this application, but we still have some work to do in terms of getting this product to a point where it's inside of an investment bank being used by all their analysts every day.
So Chuck, and then over to Sivan.
So comparing to like Graphite, are you aware of
Yep.
that product? So they're taking a broader approach, a much larger market. Have you thought about going that way, and how would you be differentiated?
So this was one of our first thoughts was, we're just going to build a really great chart builder. But the challenge with that is that it is a crowded space. So what I would say is, we're not looking to be a more generalized tool in the general data visualization sense, because there's tons of players, including Graphic, Tableau, as I mentioned, Power BI through Microsoft. There's a host of others every day coming out. Our real big step forward is really building a data visualization, interactive data visualization tool, but that services this huge space of analysts who are working in Excel every day, pushing it to its absolute limits. That's where we're going to always be one step ahead of companies like Tableau, because they've put a lot of time and effort into building out their user interface that works really well for them, but may not work really well for the hosts of analysts who are producing content with Excel every day.
Sivan.
So if I remember from the summer, the
Yep.
demo we saw involved charts in a larger context that also involved the interaction with text and helping assemble the larger report in general that the chart will be part of. Is this, have you guys honed it since then and you've focused in more laser-like on specific on charts? Or is this just one part you're presenting tonight, or what is that general?
So we still have one product that we had built before was an entire report building application. What we learned by just having actual interactions with executives at banks this summer was that there are initiatives in place, $1 million plus initiatives to move content forward to a more interactive, updating format. But they're not quite there yet. So what we're bringing is this new tool to be an Excel plugin to create those interactive charts now. There is a potential as we build these relationships to then bring back that more interactive reporting where you have text that interacts with charts in some way, as we were looking at earlier this summer. But yes, that was our big advancement from the road pitch that we did, was really that we're not only, that investment bankers aren't ready for that yet, but there's this huge space where they do have a challenge with retention in relation to user experience, those kind of things. So yep, that's a great question. Thank you so much.
Last question, Jeremy.
What's the revenue model look like? What's the sell cost?
Yeah, so that's something we're still developing at this point. We've gone through a number of product iterations at this point. Really what we're looking to hone at the moment, we know that the market is big enough, the financial services space, even if you bring on 6 large investment banks, it's a lot of revenue, and from that point we can very easily look for some kind of exit. So for now, we're looking to do more one-on-one engagements with these large customers. So we're not quite sure at this point. We've seen initiatives for tools like this being done internally in the as high as $5 million for a company to build this inside of their organization. So we can go in for a fraction of that cost. That's a lot of revenue that we're bringing in, and our team is fairly small at this point, but able to get we were able to build this application plus do custom work for our clients going forward. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you.